Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's me, Paddy from across the shop, and it's getting very close to the Jack Wolf Knives Sharpshooter, which is going on release tomorrow. Over here in the UK, it's from Framar Knives. Um, I'll put the details down below of Framar. They'll go live on their site at 7 p.m. on Thursday, the 18th. Isn't that right? I think so, but it's not. I'll make sure it's right. So it's tomorrow night, which will be Friday. So, secondly, before I go on, we'll have either Jack Wolf or Donny or both on the show tonight, podcast tonight with me and Justin. Really looking forward to that chat as always. But I'm coming at this at a different angle today. Here's the question I put to myself this morning. I've been sitting here for yesterday and today, probably about an hour, trying to think of a new way to talk about Jack Wolf knives. Now, I get these for free, so whatever I say doesn't really mean a whole lot. But what I want to do is I want to sort of prove to you that there is a reason why you pay extra money for a knife. Here's my theory. And I do spend money, not just in Jack Wolf's, I spend my own money on other knives that are at this price. But here, I hear everybody saying, Jack Wolf knives, too expensive, it's only a slip joint. This bit of precision engineering is not only a slip joint. It is a slip joint, but this is made to the most exacting standards. Now, you have designers out there that just draw a picture of a knife, send it off to China, and they get it made. Nothing wrong with that. This is not a slur on them. I'm just talking about this knife and what I can tell you about this knife that makes it maybe that little bit different. Maybe makes it stand above the crowd. This is not made in America. Not all knives are. There we go. But this is designed from start to finish in exacting standards that then get sent to China to get them made. And for 20 months now, once a month approximately, we have had one of these knives. They have all been designed by one person. Now, they'll take influences from the old traditional knives, modern, modern materials. So it is different than buying a traditional knife. This is a modern slip joint. And what does modern mean to me? It means that it's got the best of materials that are out there for a knife. Never mind a slip joint, a knife. This has that. Best modern material, titanium, the carbon. We've got all sorts of different scales we've had on these. And they're going to keep getting changed and used until eventually, when that year comes, that Ben says, I can't do any better than this. But as yet, he keeps striving to do it. And what do I mean by he keeps striving? We've had this pattern out before. Now, there might be different blade shapes on them, but he's had this pattern. This is the gun stock pattern. As you can see, it looks like a gun stock of a rifle. So it's a very common, I'm not going to say common, but it is a very traditional pattern in the slip joint society. So this takes hints of it, but brings it right up to date with the materials. Also, Ben has literally, he taught himself CAD. He'd done a bit of CAD when he was at university. He'd gone back and taught himself CAD so that he can get his exacting standards, and his standards are exacting. And that is only proven by the knives. The fit and finish. Have you ever heard somebody say they've had bad fit and finish? No. If anybody ever has a problem with a Jack Wolf knives, I can guarantee you that they will be taken care of immediately. They will be taken care of immediately by the owner himself, because he put so much store in getting this knife to you in superb quality. In fact, so much so that these knives are named after his grandfather. That's the personal side. So when he's making this knife, it's as if he's given it to his grandfather in the pristine condition that his grandfather would have expected. He has achieved that. Yeah, there can be little flaws in manufacturing. We all have them. But any that have ever come up, they have been dealt with successfully by Ben and his team now. He's got a team now. The other thing about this is is the price. Everybody keeps saying it's too dear. £275 in the UK, 350 I think in the States. That's expensive for a knife, isn't it? It is expensive. There's, but don't forget, we're in a circle where a lot of people can afford this price for knives and do spend this money every day on knives. This is a slip joint version of the knives that they're paying their money for. Does this make this knife any less because it's a slip joint? No. And until you've had one of these knives and see just how good they are in hand, how safe they are in hand, you'll never, it's not going to be something you're going to fully understand until you get one in hand and use it. Now, people talk about, slicey. When they're talking about modern knives, they talk about slicey, ergonomic. This is as slicey as any blade you're ever going to get. Any blade you're ever going to get. It is ergonomic to a fault. I mean, most of the times you're going to see a gunstock pattern with two blades in. They'll have a little pen blade in this bit here. Completely ruins the shape of the knife as far as grip and handle are concerned. A Stockman to me was really meant to be this. Just a single bladed knife. It gives you perfect grip on a knife. 2 fingers in the front, 2 fingers in the back. Fills out the back of my hand. I feel as if I've got it in my hand. It's a slim knife, but I feel a full grip. I don't feel as if there's anything missing. The blade steel, S90V, one of the top blade steels about. Don't even need to talk about it. It is. It's one of the best blade steels about for edge retention. It'll keep. It's a stainless steel, so it's going to keep the blade steel nice as long as you look after it. It's got a high, hollow ground. So, I mean, it stays about the same thickness up till about there in the knife. Fantastic. The cutting edge, just impeccably, just so sharp, it's scary. So this will cut as well as any knife you have in your collection, be it a slip joint or just a modern knife, a locking knife. Because this is a modern knife too. This is a modern knife. So it has all the modern features like the titanium. Like I said, the build quality is beyond normal. It's way on and above normal. This is. What could you compare this to? Well, here you are. Probably the most bought knife at the moment is still the bug out. There's a bug out. Let's put them up there just so we can see just where they are. There you go. There's the bug out and there's the Jack Wolf knife. Do you get a whole lot more blade with this knife compared to the Jack Wolf? No. Do you need to have it this side, or will this cover anything you have to do? Yep, that'll cover it. I've used, I've never ever felt short on this knife or a Jack Wolf knife as far as blade length goes. Titanium, great. We've got titanium and carbon here. This is a nicely designed. This is the best version of the bug out that I know. This titanium makes this knife better than the plastic one, as in aesthetically and feel in hand, everything about it. This to me is the best version. You have an access lock. Great, super lock, keeps your fingers away from the edge. So does this. It just depends which way you close it, but you can keep your fingers away from the edge completely. The blade steel on this one is 20 CV. Absolute super steel. Fantastic. For everything I want to do, this is brilliant. It's got a couple of meds if you like fiddling. This is the perfect knife. But is this knife a better cutter than this? No, it's not. Is this a good cutter? It certainly is. Nearly a full flat grind. Cuts beautifully thin behind the edge. Not as thin as this, but it's thin behind the edge. It's a great cutter. It's a modern knife. So is this. This is just a different version of a modern knife. That's all it is. It's in a traditional style. Shape. Whatever way you want to put on it, it's in a traditional style. But it doesn't make it an old traditional knife that you think of your grandfather having. It couldn't be further from the truth. It is so far advanced that it's not worth comparing. Do I like the older knives? Yes, I absolutely do. But this is the most modern knife. It's right there. 4 fingers. I get 4 fingers in this comfortably, 4 fingers in this comfortably. It's a fantastic knife. It's fidgety. I'm not a fidget person, so the fidget's kind of wasting me. I like opening it and I like closing when I take it out, but I don't sit and do it all day long because that's not me. I did have a go at doing that and didn't get to me. Didn't get to me. But that's just me. So we're talking about an older knife. Here's an older knife. Now, it's not a gun stock, but it's colour matched. You see, it's the sort of knife that I'll carry with this because I like carrying two knives still. Most people carry a large knife and maybe a folder or a small folder or a traditional. I carry a traditional and a modern traditional. I do not feel that I've got any less in my pocket than anybody that's got one of these. So I carry an older knife. This is, to buy one of these, this is a Russell Barlow, it's an old knife. I'm going to pay about £100. So that's £175 cheaper than this. Is this a bad knife? Absolutely not. It's got full flat grind. It's thin to start with. When you put this against there's a modern knife, put the two blades together. Look at the difference, how thin they are. Yeah. This is a great slicing knife. It's a bit smaller in the blade, but it's going to do everything you want in a day that I can think of. Unless you're some heavy-duty worker, which, let's be honest, 90% of us are not. We're just knife collectors. We love using a knife. I'm not saying we're not knife users. We love using them, but, and there you are. That's a perfect selection for me. But Paddy, all right, this is a Jack Wolf knife, and this is lovely, and it goes with that there. But what happens if you want a lock-in knife? Well, we've got you covered at Jack Wolf Knives. We got you covered. You can now get locking versions. Now, I'm going to take that away, and now I'm going to put the bug out down. All right, bolster to bolster. There we go. Now, can you see any difference in the blade length? Very, very little. Handle, great shape, as in it's long. Any fingers, any hands will go around this. It's just fantastic. We really have got you covered. This is the locking version. Full frame lock, titanium, jig titanium, which is flipping gorgeous. I mean, and even, look, I didn't like these when they first came out because I was still thinking of Jack Wolf as just a company that makes slip joints. It doesn't. I love this knife. Now, if you're amazing opening, just amazing, fail safe. Once you get it started, it's opening. It has a front flipper. Not even going to try it because I don't like them. So, but I don't need it. I've got that one way of opening it, or two ways of opening it, that I've got out there. So the company itself is not just stagnant. It has moved. It has moved on in its different ways. This is just the next iteration. But Paddy, I can buy much cheaper that will do everything this will do. Do you want to know something? You can buy a 10 or 15 that'll do most of the things this will do. Most of the things this will do. But that's not why we're buying these. We're buying these because, for me, why do I think they're worth the money? One, the company is fantastic. It's proved itself. And it's just dedication to get the knives out to you once a month, every month. That is a hell of a task for a very, very small company, as in staff, to get this sort of quality. And the only reason you can get it is because the designer of the knives is completely obsessed with knives, and he was long before he started designing knives. He was a collector, an avid collector and user. There you go. That's why we're getting the difference, and that's why I believe that this is worthwhile. I mean, you can go up, down, whatever you want to do. This little knife is going to cost, say, somewhere around the £100 mark to buy it second hand, and I'm paying that for it. And it's a lovely knife. I really do love it. If you want to go somewhere in the middle, this is a GEC, about the same blade length, about the same handle length, one of my favourite knives. Just an absolutely fantastic pocket knife. I've never been caught short in having a too small a knife when I've had this in my hand. And this is just a 78. It's a medium length. Gives me 4 fingers like that does. It gives me a nice blade length like that does to do everything I need to do. It really does do everything I need to do. Just the 78 pattern, the American Jack. It's just an absolutely beautiful knife. Then I can go dirt, I can go, I'm going to say dirt cheap. That's not it. It's sort of mid-range, I suppose people. To me, it's the bottom end of mid-range. It's just, or the upper end of budget. About 50 quid or something for this little knife. This is the Kayak. This is my knife of the year in budget knives last year. Absolute amazing little knife. Doesn't have a huge big blade. Great as a secondary carry with this. It's got D2 steel. Fantastic steel on a pocket knife. Absolutely amazing steel. Just don't listen to all the waffle about it. As long as the heat treat's done well, and Rosecraft all seem to be doing really well with the heat treat, and the people in use are loving this knife. They're loving what Rosecraft is doing. And Rosecraft are doing exactly what Jack Wolf are doing. They're putting pride into their work. They mightn't be the most expensive. They mightn't have the most expensive materials, but their pocket knives are first class. First class. Fit and finish. Absolutely first class. First class for that price. 50 to 60 pounds for most of the knives. Amazing knives. And if you're going to start a collection and you want to keep it in that low end, you're not going to get better shapes, styles, everything that they're putting into these slip joints is amazing. It really is genuinely amazing. But it's not a Jack Wolf. It's not going to pretend to be a Jack Wolf. Do you know what I mean? It's just not. And when you have them in use, you can tell the difference. But I'm trying to think of the but. I don't have a but, sorry. It's just a flipping good knife. And again, Jack Wolf has you covered with a locking knife. If you want a titanium, they also do these in the carbon fibre and kieranite. They'll be coming around again. We've already had 2 lots of locking knives. This is going to be his main role, but this is going to be something that's going to be part of the role. We'll maybe not get them as often as we'll get these, but we're going to get them. And I've accepted that now. Ben has my blessing, as of course he wanted all along. Well, I'm giving it to him today. So this knife here, this is not just, I'm not buying this knife just for this knife. Like a lot of people don't buy this knife just for the knife. They buy it for the name of the company, Benchmade. A good company makes good products. They stand over them. They're a bit expensive. This bug out is the same price as this. This bug out is, to get it done in this configuration, is the same price as that. So why would I go for this over that? Because I want to. A lot of people will want a lock-in knife. They feel secure with a lock-in knife. And in my generation, we were brought up with slip joints, so I have no fear of slip joints, whereas a lot of people in the modern world have. But Jack Wolf is changing that because of their detent. Everything about the knife in use is changing people's minds. And that's what a knife should do. It should be controversial. It should evoke passion of some sort. But when you can get a Jack Wolf knife, and this is probably better than a lot of custom knives will have tiny little faults that, well, not all, but you're going to get it because there's one man making a knife from start to finish. This is just made with such precision. It cuts all that out. And you have a standard that is being followed through nearly every knife that comes out. And again, you're always going to get one that maybe slips by, but very, very few in the last 20 months have we had anything slip by. Well, we haven't. We had one that nearly did, but Ben caught it, stopped it, changed it. That was the little bro. We got it back again in perfect condition. And it was only just a wee, tiniest little measurement oversight. Not sure who the problem was, but that's besides the point. But it was fixed and we didn't have to get a defective knife. There you go. So, it's got high-end materials made in a high-end factory. Do we know where it is? No. What the hell does that matter so much? I don't get all this. It's in China. We're not hiding about where it's from. But if the company doesn't want their name out there and they can produce knives like this for Ben, why would he go to somewhere else just because he can't give the name of the company out? That's to me, that's catch a grip. I mean, do you know where your watch is made if it comes from China? No, it could be made in any one of 100 factories. It's just, where's your phone come? Where's it made from? You've never seen the place, so you don't know what it's like. Where's your shoes made? I haven't a foggiest where my shoes are made. It says in the bottom of the sole, don't even check them. I bought them because I like the look of them. I buy Jack Wolf because I like the look of them. But what I get then is an investment in a company that cares about its Patreons. I mean, if you go onto that Jack Wolf Facebook group, it's one of the nicest Facebook groups that I have ever had the pleasure to dander into. The conversations are healthy and just about knives. I haven't seen any bickering because Ben just kicks anybody. They're kicked out because Ben's not controversial in the community. He might be controversial with what he's bringing into the community, but he's proven that he can do it. His designs, it's not a Chinese design. This is his down to the very last degree on any angle in this knife. Ben does it himself, then gives it to them to make. He's just using the manufacturing and not their knowledge of how to make a knife. Well, it's their expertise in making a knife because these are just some of the highest quality. I couldn't care where they come from as long as they keep this quality up. And that's the truth. That is the truth. If they were made in America, would it make it better? If they were made in the UK or Europe, yes, it would. Yes, it would. But it's not going to stop me from buying this one with this quality. Why would you cut your nose off to spite your face? I mean, just don't. So I highly recommend you go ahead. If this is your first time at getting a Jack Wolf knife, fantastic first knife. Because you can see the pattern from the old clearly. It fits in the hand, and so many different sized hands fit this knife. When it first came out, people were a bit shocked. They'd never seen Stockmans that just had one blade. Most Stockmans that come out have two. This is one of the most comfortable Jack Wolf knives. Look at this. The changes that we got this year is a bigger sharpening choil. I'm all for that, definitely. The long pull instead of a nail nick, hand rub satin finish. It is just, look at that. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. 3-ring bolster and a larger bolster. And it just makes all the difference. That 3-ring is now the signature. Honestly, you'll not get a nicer looking knife, in my opinion, out there today at that price. And it's worth every penny. I genuinely think it is. So, I hope that was a wee bit different of a breakdown of Jack Wolf and why I think of them. So whether you want slip joints or you want locking knives, Jack Wolf has you covered now. They have you covered. But get started. Get one in your hand if you can afford it. Get one in your hand. If you can't, my recommendation, save, because you'll not regret having one of these in your collection. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So take care. Tomorrow, don't be late. Go early. Get the design that you want and the handle material. So you need to go early to get what you like. Tonight on Jack Wolf's Knives, we're going to cover all the covers, the covers, what sort of colors you're going to get with it. We're going to cover all that side of it with somebody from the company, should it be Jack or Donnie or whoever. I'll see you there tonight on the podcast with me and Justin, 7:30 tonight. They go live 7:30 Friday night here in the UK, and all different times in the US, and so many more different companies over there. In the UK, we just have Frank and Fraymar Knives, and I'd say just Frank. Frank and Fraymar Knives are superb people to deal with. Right, I'm away. That was a bit different, wasn't it? But it was just me trying to get the passion, why I like these so much. Before you go, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. The subscription doesn't cost anything. It's just so that you get the videos, you get to see my videos when they come up. And if you hit that wee bell, you'll get them straight away. and comment. I love to hear what you think of my waffle and the knife. Take care now. Bye bye.